Hey everyone, Capolo here, and today I will show you how to build 4 Blitz deck out of 1 Arcane Rising box. As already done for Monarch and Welcome to Wraith, you can check in the top corner for the info card. I will build 4 good Blitz decks out of a single box of Arcane Rising. You will find the deck list in the video description down below. Let's see what our strategy is. We are gonna build one deck for each young hero in the box. We are going to build synergistic decks. I will only use cards from the box. I will start only with a base deck of commons. I will use at most 2 copies of each common for the decks. You're not guaranteed to have 2 copies of each common, but you can easily replace them with rares. And last, we are gonna spice up the deck with rare majestics or legendaries we will open in the box. The first step is to grab a sealed box of Arcane Rising and open it. Let's start with Dash. Dash is my favorite hero for Classic Constructed, but I have a control build. Sadly, most of the control cards are either rare or majestic, so we will try to build an aggro version of Dash. With Dash ability, you start with an item in play. For this version with only commons, I suggest to start with Hyperdriver in play. If you pull an induction chamber, I would recommend starting with that. That is the single best item that you can start with Dash. The goal of this deck is to going wide with all of the boost attacks and finish the combat with a pistol attack. For this reason, we are trying to maximize the number of Mechanologist cards in the deck. As you can see, we have many Mechanologist cards, we have only 4 that are not Mechanologist cards. As far as items, we have access as a common for Hyperdrivers, Dissipation Shield for defense. Hyperdriver gives you an extra resource whenever you boost, first time per turn, and Monocle is for like opting 1. This is mainly to use whenever you don't know the position in the deck of your force side. The rest is just like as many common as it can fit. Let's see our upgrades. This box was quite good as far as Dash upgrades. We open 2 convection amplifiers. We can remove a sting counter from it and the next attack gains dominate. This is pretty good. We probably want to remove the force side from it. Then we got lucky and we found a Techno Core as an item. Is the Death Specialization. This gives you 2 mana for 2 turns, so this is quite good. But it's better if you are on the draw. Other cards for upgrades that we find that are quite good are the High Octane and Maximum Velocity. Maximum Velocity attacks for 10. You need to boost 3 or more times this turn, but if you can able to cast this, is quite good. And then High Octane, like whenever you boost, you get an action point, so you don't need to boost like crazy. And then the last 2 cards we got is Pour to the Mold that lets you put an item into play, and then a Pedal to the Metal that is just another like good attack. And what I would change from this setup, like Monocle is quite weak, so you can cut the Monocles, cut the foresights, fill the gaps that you don't have in the common slots, and if you have more, I would probably cut the yellow lock and loaded, probably the red ones too, maybe the yellow over the loop. What I will not cut are the 0 to 60s and the zipper hits. Those I think you need to play the all 6. Next we have Azalea, or Azalea, I don't know the right pronunciation. We have the Ranger. With her you want to shoot arrows from your arsenal, and you can use your bow or your hero ability to put arrows in your arsenal. Some of the arrows and generics in the deck have a bonus if they're put face up in the arsenal. The deck is pretty straightforward. We have some arrow attacks, you see all of this. Remember that arrow attacks can only be used from the arsenal. Then we have some spells like these 2 to make our attack bigger. We have Bekali Breakline that gives a bonus if it's put face up in the arsenal, and that's the efficient attack of Push the Point. How would I upgrade Azalea? I think the only generic I would probably put is the Red Plunder Run. Then for other upgrades that we open, we have a Rapid Fire, that gives you arrow attacks go again, so it's actually quite good, and also has reload, so you can put a card in your arsenal, so you can put an arrow in your arsenal without having to use the death dealer ability. We have like silver the tip that lets you refuel your arsenal. Take aim that gives you a ranger attack plus 3 attack, and you can put an arrow in your arsenal or any other cards with reload, to be honest. And lastly, take cover. That is a defense reaction, so you defend with this and then you can reload. So you defend with this and put an arrow in your arsenal. And what I will change for those cards are probably like mainly the generics and maybe some of the shots. Probably you don't need like many of the blue shots, just because Azalea functions with low resources. Let's move to the next one. Next up, we have Viserai. Runeblades, as you saw in my previous video for Chain, care about casting non-attack action and attack action cards, and so is their weapon Nebula Blade. Also, Viserai is built around and cares about creating runechant tokens. Runechant tokens are quite powerful because it's arcane damage, and arcane damage cannot be blocked by defenses. They can only be blocked by Arcane Barrier. Arcane Barrier is usually present in some of the equipments, like in this set, just because we have also the wizard that produces arcane damage. What you want to do with Viserai is to set up a lot of runechant tokens and then unleash a powerful arcane damage attack. This is our deck. You can see we have the Mage Master Boots, so it can give your non-attack action go again, because we have a few non-attack actions that do not have go again. Then we have here is our Runeblade Suite. This is an attack that creates a runechant token. Here we have the full play sets of Rune Flash, Drawn Through Dimension, and Amplified Dark Knight. That they are like 3 or 2 mana, but they cost 1 less for each runechant you control. We have Read the Runes that creates 3 runechants. We have this Aura, Bloodspill Invocation, that we can set up, and basically we have a creation of a runechant token if our attack hits. We have some non-attack actions with go again, this Come to Fight and Lead the Charge. We have Vigor Rush that if you cast a non-attack action, this gets go again. Rifting gives you a non-attack action being able to cast as an instant. And Cadaverous Contraband that lets you put a non-attack action card from the graveyard on top of your deck. As far as upgrade, we can add also in this deck Lander Run, because it's a non-attack action. From the specific Runeblade cards, we got Spellblade Assault that lets you create 2 runechant tokens whenever you attack. So you probably want to replace some of the generics with this. We open a Reduce to Runechants that costs less if you have a runechant, and it's a defense reaction, so you can defend with it, and also you create a runechant token. This is quite powerful. If you play against somebody and you want to just block, you block for 4 and create a runechant and set up for a bigger attack next turn. And the last card that we had in the box was like this, that is like another setup. It's similar to the Come to Fight, but it is create a runechant token. Last, we have Kano the Wizard. This is probably the most fun and hardest to play hero in the game, and also it's quite tricky because your starting life total is just 15. Kano gives the option to play as an instant on your opponent's turn with its own activated ability, and also the weapon is quite powerful because it gives you 1 extra arcane damage if you activate it. If you play Magic the Gathering, this is pretty close to a Storm deck. There is a lot of math and sequencing involved in this deck, but it's quite fun. Here we have our Kano deck. So we have the spells that just deal damage, like Voltaic Bolt is 5, 4 and 3 for 2 mana. Scalding Rain is 4 and this one is 2 for 1 mana. And Zap costs 0 and this is 3, 2 and 1 damage. Then other damage cards have Aether Flare, that's just 3 damage and 2 damage. And if you deal another damage, deals that damage plus how much Aether Flare dealt. Reverberate instead deals 3 and 2 damage, and you can banish a wizard non-attack action card from your hand with cost less than the damage dealt by it, and you can cast it as an instant. Then for setting up our deck, we have Index. that you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put one of them on top of your deck and the rest on the bottom of in random order, so you can set up a Kano ability, so you can set up on which card you want with Kano. For setting up our deck, we have Fate Foreseen, that is a defense reaction that blocks for 4 and lets you opt 1, and the yellow blocks for 3 and the blue blocks for 2. And lastly, for setup, we have Whisper of the Oracle. This is opt 4 and go again, so you set up your deck. Opt is Scry in Magic the Gathering, and this is opt 3 and this is opt 2. Basically setup cards and like damage to the face cards, and Crucible of Aetherweave increase the next damage, so you can like Crucible, do Aether Flare, and then the next one is gonna be more. Let's see our upgrades. We have Absorb in Ether, that is a defense reaction, and the next card you play this turn deals 2x arcane damage. That's why you want to play at instant speed with Kano's ability. You can block with this, activate Kano, and maybe hit a spell and you deal 2 extra damage because you block with Absorb in Ether. This is a really good upgrade, probably over the Fate Foreseen. I feel like the Fate Foreseens are not that great for Wizard, but it's a good way to like manage your library as a common option. Another good card that we open is Aether Spell Window, that deals 4 damage for 2 mana. This is worse rate than Voltaic Bolt, but then you get to opt X, so you can set up your deck afterwards. Probably change the Whisper of the Oracles for the spell windows. The other cards we opened was lots of Stir the Aether Winds, that increases the damage similar to what we saw with the Sub-Uniter. Deals the same arcane damage plus 3, this plus 2 and this plus 1. And there is a card, I don't know if it's in this set, of Crucible of War, that deals 2 arcane damage and then 2 arcane damage, so it's gonna deal 5 and 5, which is quite good. So if you want to upgrade, look for that card. And last card that we got in our deck is the Tome of Aetherwind. You choose 2, and you can choose the same. You can draw a card and draw a card, or like draw a card and deal 1 extra arcane damage, or deal 2 extra arcane damage. It's your choice. This is quite good too. So which hero did you like the best? Please let me know in the comments down below. Next, I will be working on Tales of Aria Heroes out of a box, and you should expect that video to come out probably next week. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave the like, help me with the algorithm, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!